Hey, let's enter into the world of polymers. Polymers are everywhere and they are designed to save our environment, and now they are posing threat to the environment. So let's look into these wonderful molecules. How are they made and how are they classified, and what are their examples which has formed a integral part of our life. So as you all know, polymers are made up of small chain like structures. Okay, and there is a small molecule like say styrene. If it is repeated a number of times and it forms a chain, it becomes polystyrene, and the process is known as polymerization. Okay, now let's move on to the classification of these wonderful materials. So we may classify them based on the sources or based on the structure or sometimes based on the thermal response and wonderful applications. So here is the first type of classification based on the source of this material. In nature, polymers are found in abundance. So they have been used since ancient times. The well-known polymers are wool, silk, cotton, and starch and cellulose, which are derived from the plant material, also are natural polymers. Another natural polymer is natural rubber, which is used in making tires. But we know that the strength and the durability of these polymers is a issue. So chemists have treated them in the laboratory to modify their properties, and hence we get another category, that is semi-synthetic polymers. Okay? So these are natural polymers which are treated to modify their properties. So first is say cellulose nitrate. Now, cellulose nitrate is a wonderful polymer which was derived to replace ivory. Now it was found that there is lot of decline in the population of elephants. Why? Only for the making gold balls, ivory was required. Now ivory was replaced by a material which is similar to ivory, that is cellulose nitrate. But the funny part of it is cellulose nitrate is explosive, and at times it used to explode while playing golf. So then there were certain modifications were made, and newer materials were discovered to replace the natural materials and save the environment. So polymers were prepared to save the environment. Okay, and then there is variety of materials have been synthesized in the laboratory, which will give you fibers, the sheets, and several other materials to make our bottles, the storage material, furniture. So nylon 6 are the oldest known synthetic fibers, which were prepared to replace silk. Okay, so they are silky fibers to prepare the textile fabrics. And then now there are PVCs and PETs, which we know the PET bottles. So these are all synthetic material. Then comes the other way of classifying the polymers is based on the structure. Okay, so they can be classified into two major categories based on the organic backbone or based on the inorganic backbone. Okay, now based on the organic, the units may be same monomer units. If they are repeated n number of times, we get homopolymers. Okay, and if we get one or two different types of monomeric units which are repeated again and again to form long polymer chains, we get copolymers. So copolymers are mixed polymers, and then there is another category like inorganic polymers, which are containing inorganic materials like carbon fibers or silicones. Okay, So silicones have carbon fibers. They form composites or beautiful materials known as elastomers. So we'll see them in our next slide. So coming to the copolymers, it's very interesting way of making the polymers using two different monomeric units or two or more monomeric units and modifying the properties of these polymers. Okay, so there are four ways. One is alternating monomeric units. In this case, as you can see, there are two monomeric units AB, 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 AB. They are repeated again and again in an alternate fashion, giving rise to an alternate copolymer. As against, if we have two copolymers, one made up of the monomer having A as a monomer and other having say B as a monomeric unit, and if we make a combination of these two monomeric units in the form of blocks, block of A monomers, block of B monomers, then block of A again, and so on, we get block copolymers. Third way is random. So there is no order in any fashion. The two monomeric units may combine or react with each other based on their chemical properties. If they are very close to each other, we can end into formation of a random copolymer. And fourth way of mixing these, reacting these monomeric units is like a graft. So we have a backbone of say AB, AB, AB unit. On that we can graft another polymeric unit which is made up of say monomer AAA. So this gives rise to a cross-link network like structure which is having very high hardness and hence more durability and hence different properties. So these are the ways, on the basis of structure you can classify the polymers. Based on the thermal response, we can see what is the effect of heating on these polymers. They may be classified into two major categories, thermoplastics and thermosetting. Some examples of thermoplastics may be acrylics or nylons or polyethylenes, polyvinyl chloride and many others. And thermosetting polymers may be your melamine, bakelite, polyimides. So they contain polyimides or phenols or epoxy resins. Then there are certain elastomers. Okay, so these are also sensitive to temperature and hence they may be rubber, silicones, polyurethane. So they are moldable. Okay, so they are moldable. So now let's move on to the some important points of distinguishing between thermoplastic and thermosetting plastic. So here we can see, look at the thermoplastics. The thermoplastic are simple linear chain polymers. They can be synthesized by addition polymerization, and it's like our plastic pack, the milk pack which you see, or the carry bags which we carry for shopping. So they can be softened after heating. Okay, and since they can be softened, they can be reshaped or reused at a suitable temperature. So naturally they are weaker and less brittle. Okay, so therefore if we want to make the best out of waste, it is the thermoplastic which can be reclaimed from waste. Okay, and they are also soluble in several organic solvents. So therefore the thermoplastic materials can be reused and reshaped and hence recycled. As against the thermosetting plastic is containing a three-dimensional crosslink network. Okay, just like we have seen in a graft copolymer. So they are copolymers and hence they exist strong covalent bonds. They can be synthesized by condensation polymerization. And as we can see, because they have strong covalent bonds, they do not soften after heating and hence we cannot reshape or reuse these materials after heating. They are very hard, strong, more brittle and hence more durable also. Okay, so if these materials are entering into the waste stream, it is not possible to reclaim them. Okay, and that creates the threat to our environment. Again, they are also insoluble in many organic solvents. It's very difficult to dissolve them in any of the organic solvent. Okay. So some examples are carbon fiber, bakelite, melamine, etc. The fourth category or fourth way of classifying the polymers is based on their wonderful applications. So the four major applications of these polymers are uh, uh, the plastics. Now, plastics is well known to us. We use every day as drinking bottles, storage materials, houses. Okay, you can make plastic houses, roofs, chairs, furniture, everything. Many things can be made of these plastics. Okay, then morning when you get up, you make your brush, and down there is a brush which can bend, and these elasticity is because of these elastomers. So if you have a material which is elastic, which is soft, smooth, which can be pressed easily, okay, so this is a second category of polymers which are known as elastomers, and they have viscosity and elasticity are the major important properties to put them into different applications, such as your earphones. You can see they are very soft and um, mm, flexible in nature. So this flexibility and softness is because of this elasticity and viscosity of these polymeric material. Third way or ways to classify this material is the different types of fibers which we get, which can be mixed with other organic matrices and to get altogether different materials. So in material chemistry, the composites are formed by incorporating carbon nanotubes or carbon fibers to give you ultralight materials, which are kind of bicycles or aeroplanes, the Boeing 787, or the space rockets and the various components which are used in space machines. Because the lighter the material, uh, the less is the fuel consumption. So therefore, lighter materials which are more durable are continuously invented, and polymer provide lot of such opportunities to invent new materials which have fascinating properties. And the fourth category is liquid resins. So these are used like natural varnishes, okay, for coatings and for art materials. You can have beautiful paints, you can have different materials. The gift art and crafts can be made. So you can simply embed anything inside this viscous material and give an effect of natural resins. So liquid resins is a fourth category. So this is the way in which we can classify these polymeric materials into different categories. So here we end our discussion on the applications of nanomaterial and classification of nanomaterial. So thank you very much for listening patiently. If you have any questions, do contact me at sugandha@somya.info. Thank you.